Hey guys, here's a short lecture on political action in nursing. Nursing involvement in politics is important because state and federal governments play an increasing role in healthcare delivery systems, workforce, and nursing practice. Nursing practice is directly affected by political action with policy development. Evidence of serious patient safety issues is in the national media and has become a major debate. And national attention to the nursing shortage has definitely intensified. Nurses must realize that involvement in the political process is a vital tool necessary to carry out the mission of their work with maximum impact. Coalitions can help. A coalition is a group of individuals that shares a common interest and advocates for better health care, and it should definitely strengthen your cause. So what is a health policy? There are two different kinds. A private health policy is made by healthcare organizations like hospitals. They govern employee practices and healthcare services provided by that organization. An example of a private health policy is a policy for reporting patient care errors. A public health policy refers to local, state, and government and federal legislation, regulations, and funding for healthcare services, delivery, and reimbursements. An example of that would be mandatory requirements for licensure to practice professional nursing. Nurses must understand that there are 3 levels in each governmental sector: local, state, and federal. Now, you don't need to remember the things I'm going to tell you right now, but I'm going to show you the differences between those 3 levels. So at the local level, there are cities or counties that offer a variety of healthcare services. They can offer free or reduced rate immunizations, requirement for tobacco-free public areas, safe drinking water, seatbelt and child restraint laws, and emergency medical systems. At the state level, there's powerful influence on health and safety of state residents. They govern nursing practice and pay for some healthcare services. They maintain safe meat supply through inspections and ensure safe food storage in restaurants. They ensure hospitals provide safe quality care through regulatory compliance, and they regulate the Medicaid program, children's health insurance, mental health services, long-term care for the elderly, and health care for prisoners. Now at the federal level, they also have a vital role in the health and safety of Americans, and they share governance in nursing practice as well. They also fund health and illness research, do supplemental funding for education for healthcare professionals, and regulate payments with Medicare, Medicaid, and Veterans Administration. In order to create power, we must understand the organizational structure of the government. There are 3 separate branches of the federal government: the legislative, judicial, and executive. The state government is defined by their individual state constitutions and hold auxiliary powers, and they are responsible for local governments that are delineated by each state. The U.S. Census Bureau identifies 5 layers of local government. They include county, municipal, township, school district, and special district governments. Now, I put this YouTube video in here just to remind me to tell you to go out to Blackboard in this learning plan and listen to the video on Schoolhouse Rock, I'm Just a Bill. Some of you may be old enough to remember it from your childhood, but it's an old video that really explains the process of developing a bill very well, and it just really helps give you some background understanding of all the work that goes into that. Now, any elected official in legislative branch and government agencies, including governors, mayors, county commissioners, and city council members, can propose an initiative called a bill. Lobbyists, constituency groups, and advocates help move the bill through the legislative process. Legislation is also generated from government agencies like policy reforms in the IRS. So how does a bill become a law? After the bill is introduced, the chief clerk assigns it a number and refers it to Committee of Congress. And again, you don't have to memorize this process, but it's good to know background information. The House and Senate decide which committee considers the bill. This decision is critical to the survival and passage of the bill. Most bills die in committee because if leadership wants it to fail, they give it to a committee that will never vote on it or will pass it on to the House. The committee votes either favorably, then it's scheduled for debate by the House or Senate, favorably but with amendments, unfavorably, or it's just killed outright. The House and Senate might pass different versions of the bill. If this isn't resolved, the bill dies there. And if the bill is approved in both houses, it goes to the chief executive. Federal level, it's the president. State level, it's the governor. They can sign the bill into law or veto it. If vetoed, it is sent back to the House and the Senate. So it's quite the long process. So why nursing participation in the election process? You should help select a candidate that most reflects your point of view, and it's most important for you to know their key issues. See when a volunteer help is needed at the headquarters, and you can also assist with candidates' understanding of political healthcare issues because they probably are not known in the healthcare environment. So it's important for you to let them know of the issues. Lobbying is when you attempt to influence or sway a public official to take a desired action. Primary objectives for nurses is to educate our legislators about nursing practice and healthcare issues. The National Council of State Boards of Nursing issues the uniform licensure requirements that include competence framework for nursing education. The National Council of State Boards of Nursing enables multi-state licensure for nurses. And we already talked about this in the previous lecture. Nurse practice committees are a means of communicating concerns to administration. Numerous opportunities at healthcare facilities for you to be able to do this as a nurse. A couple examples are a professional practice council, an education committee, things like that. Shared governance are activities that address nurse participation with control of nursing practice. Clinical or career ladders recognize long-term career nurses who remain clinically oriented and continue to further their education. Negotiations should include peer-elected negotiators to represent the group, and strikes and labor disputes are used as last resort. Mediation is mandated during those times. The National Labor Relations Act of 1935 said employees have the right to organize unions and demand safe work environment. The Taft-Hartley Act of 1947 said the rights for management to equalize the balance of unions. Civil Rights Act of 1964 was equal pay for equal work. Age Discrimination Act of 1967 protects against forced retirement. Rehabilitation Act of 1973 protects the rights of disabled people. So you can see how legislation can affect you in the workplace. Nursing unions. Let me give you my spiel on nursing unions. It's kind of like if your son or daughter comes and tells you that they would like to join the armed forces. You as a parent really should not tell them yes or no, but you want them to be very well informed about it before they make a decision. So you have them go out and do research and get all of the information that they can, and then they can make a educated decision on that. And that's what I tell you about nursing unions as well. Just make sure you do all of your education and research so you know the decision that you're making in that. The National Professional Organization for Nursing is the American Nurses Association, with its constituents like the United American Nurses, and then on the state level is the Wisconsin Nurses Association, and on a specialty level there's a number of multiple different ones. I belong to the Emergency Nurses Association. There are pediatric nursing associations, just about every specialty you can think of. These associations have many purposes, such as economic analysis, education, nursing practice, research, collective bargaining, lobbying, and political action. The best way to influence federal legislation is with a unified voice of one of these organizations. So as a nurse, you should at least belong to one organization that can speak your thoughts. A political action committee is an organization that seeks to advance its interests by raising money to contribute to a political candidate or campaign. Examples of political action committees. There was an extraterrestrial phenomena, PAC, that targets the politics of UFO phenomena for confirming evidence. Pretty interesting, right? There was the Terry PAC, dedicated to elect leaders who respect the right to personal privacy and the rule of law. Also urges individuals to create living wills, something that we should be pretty proud of as nurses and educate our patients on. Political action committees grew out of the Nixon-Watergate era when Congress decided that candidates for public office were becoming too dependent on money that was supplied by special interest groups. So Congress put limitations on contributions because there were people who donated large amounts of money and were exerting too much influence over the elected officials' decisions. Collective pooling of resources helped provide the elected official with education regarding the healthcare issues. And American Nurses Association has a PAC, and it has 4 areas of endorsement. Political focus to get candidates elected, has no legislative activities, no dirty politics, they will not buy a candidate, and only focuses on health issues. In the spirit of Thomas Jefferson, you can find legislative information in the Library of Congress. So if you search using healthcare, you can see how many different acts are currently listed. And this is an excellent, excellent website to use. USA.gov allows you to easily find an elected official and contact them. So again, if you're very interested in politics as a nurse, this is another excellent website. So in closing, the political action and lobbying, research, and education are necessary to further the cause of nursing and to meet the public's healthcare needs. So this is the end of the lecture, but I want you to go on and do the key questions that are included in the PowerPoint presentation, and the answers for them are posted in Blackboard for you.